Hello and welcome. I am Stanton Usher, choral director at Roswell High School, and I am just so honored to be sitting here today with the legendary choral director, Judy Spears. We're going to have a short conversation with Judy and just find out a few things about Judy and Judy's career. And I would just like to start off with saying that Judy has had just a wonderful impact on my life and my career. Um, then, as a young choral director, and setting the standard, and as well as always offering um, criticism that would help a choral director versus criticism or direction that can hurt or break a choral director's spirit. But always just so humble, always just so sweet and loving, and always willing to share. And I'm just honored to have a moment to speak with Judy today. So, hello, Judy.
Hey, well, let me start out by saying that I am 25% humbled by that term legend and 75% amused. Mostly you have to live a long time. But when I think of the crazy things I did through the years in my classroom, it's just amazing. That seems to be what it takes to become a legend, is to be a little bit out there.
And we all know that you have done exactly what it takes to leave a lasting legacy, not only within Gwinnett County, but throughout the state of Georgia. So we are just also, I'm honored to be in your presence and honored to know
Sweet.
you. So Judy, if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself. Where did you grow up? Kind of where did you go to school? Just a little background.
Okay, well, I grew up in Dacula.
Wow.
My parents are from Dacula. I am a Dacula native, which is a rare creature these days. And, I had a wonderful growing up experience at Dacula School, grades 1 through 12. Kindergarten hadn't even been invented yet in Dacula. I didn't have kindergarten.
Wow.
But I didn't have a choral program. I sang in the choir at church. But I started band in the 4th grade, and I played in the band grades 4 through 12.
Wow.
But I had no choral background.
What instrument did you play?
Well, in the band, I started out with clarinet. I wasn't very good at that. And then in the 10th grade, I changed to baritone horn, and I wasn't very good at that either. But I started piano in the 1st grade, and I had piano lessons grade 1 through 12. So I spent a lot of my time practicing the piano at home.
Wow. So grades 1 through 12 at Dacula School.
Yeah.
Wow. Where did you attend college?
University of Georgia.
University of Georgia.
Yeah.
So still staying close to home.
Oh yeah.
Huh?
Oh yeah.
Georgia girl, Georgia girl, Georgia girl. Love it. Did you always want to be a music teacher?
I did from 4th grade on. Except I always thought I was going to be a private piano teacher. I didn't know anything else, really. And then I did teach private piano for a number of years while our children were small. I had a studio at home. And then the Lord started pushing me about going back to get an advanced degree, and I couldn't figure out why. Wow. Because I was very active with the state piano organization. And anyway, long story short, I figured out why when I was hired to start a choral program at Dacula.
So you
after I finished my master's. Yeah, so I started the program in '83. There had been some random chorus classes through the years, but maybe taught by an English teacher.
Right.
But there was not a program. So I started that in '83 and retired 25 years later.
Wow.
So that's why I had to go back and get that degree. I didn't know what I was getting for.
Wow.
I like to say God played a trick on me.
God did play. He played a good trick on you, and that trick blessed us all. Wow. So, what were some of your influences? Any family members that were musicians, cousins? What was the influence?
Well, my paternal grandfather was a singer, and he played violin, and he taught early those music schools in the churches that
Okay.
were our early form
Our
of
first
music
ones.
education. He did that, and so, and then both of my parents could sing, but they weren't uh, professional musicians. But I suppose my talent came down through that grandfather that I never actually met. He died before I was born.
Oh, wow. Wow, wow, wow. So, did you feel like music education was it not only an important factor in your life, but what effect did you think music or music education would have on others?
Oh,
especially wanting to teach it, or the importance.
I think anyone who has the talent and desire to pursue music, then that is a gift from God. Absolutely. And I wanted to do my part to develop that, because I had piano teachers who did that for me as I was growing up. And then when I started the choral program, I wanted the Dacula kids to have those experiences I didn't get. And so I lived vicariously through them when they got to go to honor chorus or all state or governor's honors program. I mean, it was very fulfilling and gratifying.
Absolutely.
To me.
And I can totally see that in you. And Dacula was a very small place, and you wanting those kids to have a world class experience, and an experience bigger than Dacula.
Right. And that's one thing I really, really always have appreciated about GMEA is GMEA is that big umbrella which provides opportunities that as a single school you just can't do, especially if you're small and rural. Of course, by the time I was there for 25 years, I had taught at the smallest school category in the state, through every single category to the largest, and it started out very rural and it ended up very international, and I never changed schools.
Wow.
It all happened. When I started, there were not 400 kids in the high school. And when I finished, we were between 2,000 and 3,000. So
wow,
huge change.
Yes,
huge change, but a good change.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Lots of students to harass.
Love that, love that. That's absolutely fantastic. And I can say, as a person who have observed your work for many many years, that I can see there was a much larger. It was much larger than your school in that one space. What you offered your students, and even your performances were on a much larger scale.
So. And that's again where I really appreciate GMEA. This is not a paid advertisement. It's from the heart. Every time kids would go to honor chorus and bring those stretched ears and eyes and minds back, or then they would go to Allstate and bring those stretched ears and eyes and minds back. All of that grew up my kids that weren't getting those opportunities, and
Wow.
they wanted more and more and more. So
And
it,
you
I
were,
mean, it was
yeah,
fabulous.
you were there to make sure they got it. Wow. What would you do differently if you could start your career over? What would you do differently?
I wouldn't change a thing.
No!
I wouldn't change a thing. I loved the private piano because it allowed me to be home when my children were small. And then I was in the public school and my children came up. I actually, in the early days when everything was teen-icey, I was the middle school general music teacher half a day, well, 2 periods, and then high school the rest of the day. And so I was my own feeder. That's how I had a whole
That's
job.
a beautiful thing.
And so I had taught my own children all the way through, and they got to do the honor choirs and the all states. And now our son is Dr. Spears and choral conducting, and he's my choir director at church.
Oh, wow.
So I wouldn't change a thing.
That is beautiful.
It's been quite a ride.
That is absolutely beautiful. I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful. So if we gave you a crystal ball right now and said, okay, Jude, I love it. Where do you see music education specifically in 25 years?
Oh, that is too mind-blowing to consider. What I would say, however, is that I am incredibly impressed with our young teachers. Every time I go and judge an LGPE or go into a young teacher's classroom just for a mentoring situation, I am so impressed with our young teachers. And the future is theirs. So all power to them. I'm very impressed with our young teachers.
Awesome. So, are you doing much of that now as far as being able to get in classrooms and connecting with the district? Or how long after you retired were you able to still do that actively?
Whenever, kids like would be former students of mine, a lot of times that are now in the profession would ask me to come and work with this or that, or to sort of coach their LGPE preparation, come to their pre-LGPE concerts and make notes,
all that good
sort of
stuff.
thing. Yeah.
Okay. Excellent.
I don't just barge into classrooms.
Yes, you're just storming in classrooms all over.
I'll wait till I'm asked.
Awesome. So, if there was one thing, what is one thing that you think a new teacher should probably hear? Or if you could say one thing to a brand new teacher, what would that be?
The one thing, bottom line, is you're teaching people.
Wow.
And you know all this book learning, you've practiced all this music all these years, but it doesn't matter what you know if kids don't think you know them.
Wow.
And care about them, then all of that doesn't work. But you must connect with the kids. And I found that if kids know you do love them and care about them, then they will go to any lengths to try to meet your expectations. And I found they like high expectations. They like high expectations. They like to know where the line is drawn.
They do.
As far as classroom management, they're happier that way, and they just. So I would say, love your kids and love your music. And if you can't live without it, then do a different job.
Wow.
You should really just, it's what you do. It's my one talent. It's what
Wow.
I have to do.
And I think I've discovered that thing that has always drawn me to you, and that is being led by God,
Mhm.
and calling and relationships, and
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
all about relationships, and I don't teach music, I teach kids.
Exactly. Exactly. And then
That
when
okay.
you're old like me and retired, you still,
Mhm.
I mean, you can still relate to those kids and to your
Right.
colleagues. And to
Absolutely.
I remember when
Mhm.
you were kind of a baby teacher
Right,
down
absolutely.
south side of Atlanta.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow, wow, wow,
Yeah.
wow. So, and I love how you brought us through, growing up in Dacula, attending Dacula schools,
Mhm.
grades 1 through 12, teaching in Dacula from a very small school, and then growing through the ranks. So, of course, we know things were very different then, and there weren't as many distractions or
True.
challenges
This is
for
true.
students as well as for administrators and
This is
our
true.
our coworkers. So, for music teachers today that need to advocate for their programs, for themselves, um, for music educators to be able to show the value or help show the value of what they do. um, what could you possibly offer to a music teacher that will help them with that advocacy piece?
I think it is tougher now. I've not dealt with this, but people are still people,
People are still people.
and
Hmm.
um, I believe that an important thing for an arts educator to do is to make yourself an integral part of your school.
Wow.
You are not a conservatory.
I love it.
You are a part of the school,
Wow.
and so to in every way possible to mm, communicate that
Hmm.
and have what your students are doing contribute in a positive way to the life of the school. It's not that there's a jillion examples, but
Hmm.
it's not to feel set apart,
Right.
even though we're the only ones in the building doing what we do,
Hmm.
and we're generally misunderstood.
Right. Right.
And the people who observe our classrooms generally don't really know what we're doing, but that's okay. They're still our colleagues,
Right.
and our job is not their job. So so we're not really set apart, even though we're unique. We have to
Wow.
fit the integral
Within that school
framework of the
community.
school and the
That school,
community. Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Wow. And yeah, coming up with ways to do that. Or I mean, there are numerous ways to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Inserting yourself within your school community. Yeah, and that is your advocacy. If
Yes.
you can sing for this meeting or go sing at City Hall, or
Mm-hmm.
you're singing for this honors night or whatever
Well,
at the
right.
school.
And one other thing, because what we teach may not be considered real school, is to make sure we're doing a heck of a job teaching
Hmm.
from bell to bell
Hmm.
every day so that we defy the notion that this is just a hobby. I, I can I can remember when I was working on my specialist degree, I had to go. It was a course I could only get in Dahlonega on the North Georgia campus. Believe it or not, couldn't get it here in Athens. And and so every Monday I would go lickety split, get in my car, and drive to Dahlonega for this Monday night class I had to have.
How long was that drive?
Uh, it's long and twisty,
A long
long and
twisty ride.
twisty, yeah. And I was
Wow.
getting in my car one afternoon, and our custodian, who loved me and loved music, but he said, "Where are you going, Miss Spears?" I said, "Oh, Larry, I got to go to Delana. I've got a class I'm taking for an added degree I need." And he said, "Well, when you finish that, will you be a real teacher?" And I thought, and he was not in any way making fun.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But what he meant was a teacher, like an English teacher or a math teacher or a science teacher, would I be a real teacher?
Core area.
And I said, "Larry, I sure hope so." Oh, but
wow.
to me, that spoke volumes about how important it is that we really, really, really teach.
Right. Wow, Judy.
Yeah, so that we are seen as real teachers.
As real teachers. Wow. That I think that's one of the best stories I've ever heard.
Oh,
wow.
My.
Amazing.
It was a stab.
Right. Wow. So what are you doing now as far as music? Are you active at you sing, your son is your church choir director.
Yeah.
And I know that you're a very active adjudicator for Virginia LGPE. What are some things you're doing that?
Well, my husband and I both have always sung in our church choir. He's a bass and I'm an alto. And so we continue to do that.
Wow.
And it's very fun, the circle of life, where Sam was in my choirs and now I'm in his. But
wow.
Yeah, I do and for him I help do sectionals and
all that
kind of stuff. Yeah. I'm still do a lot of adjudicating. I just have 4 head jobs coming up.
Wow.
And I have just finished reviewing repertoire for the first 3. And I was very impressed at how well I do think this head judge program has really made teachers overall much more aware of following the rules in the handbook.
Yep, the process.
So that everybody has a positive experience.
Absolutely, and that's what it's about. Yeah. Thank you for saying that. So that everybody has a positive experience.
Oh yeah, because judges, I mean, it kills us if there has to be a penalty. I mean, it just kills us.
It does. It's really, heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking because you can put yourself in that teacher's
right, and especially if it's a young teacher or a new teacher, and yeah,
and so being able to, if somebody has made an error in a choice, say it's don't have a list piece or something, now I can communicate with them beforehand.
Absolutely. And
we can get that thing fixed so that everything is all copacetic when we get to the event.
And cool. So that's beautiful.
I think that's a very positive.
Absolutely. Wow. Do you find it difficult at times as an alto in the choir and not being in front of the choir after leading it so many years?
Absolutely not. No.
But I know you get so much joy as well because it's your son as well. So that's just as fulfilling. So
yeah. Oh no, I am totally able to not be in charge. Don't get me wrong. I was born to boss. Teachers need to be born to boss. But I can also sit back and let somebody else be in charge.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
As long as he does it right. No, he's educated far beyond where I went. So he's
wow.
Yep.
Wow, Judy, my day has been made.
Well,
my day. This has been just the most wonderful conversation. Just to leave us, is there anything else that you'd like to share with our friends of music education
Mm.
as we
Keep on
close?
keeping on. Keep
Mhm.
on keeping on. Really, I used to say to my students about a million times, nothing is magic. It really is hard work. It really is.
Mhm.
And it is so, the payoff is so worth it. And I would say to stay actively involved in going to hear fine singing. Um,
Mhm.
GMEA is one place,
Mhm.
ACDA is another.
Mhm.
Going and hear and keeping your ears really tuned to tone quality and vowel formation. I mean, you don't ever finish learning.
Ever lifelong learner.
Do not ever finish learning.
Ever. Wow.
It's I um, I love the fact that the program I started is just flourishing beautifully.
Even today.
Uh huh.
Mhm.
Yeah, with James Williams and
And
with
Kim.
Kim,
Yes.
and
It
I
is.
love to go to their concerts
Yes.
and sit back and hear this wonderful music that I didn't have to rehearse at
All
all.
right.
But it just thrills me because I know that that is a light in those kids' lives, and they don't all come from happy settings.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so to be that light in kids' lives, I had a brunch date with a former student who graduated uh, about 3 decades ago now,
Wow.
and or two
Mhm.
decades, and I asked her if she kept in touch with any of the kids
Mhm.
in the choral program, and she said, "Well, really, you were my only connection to high school."
Wow.
And this was a bright, talented
Mhm.
kid, but kind of had a hard life.
Yeah.
And so to know that you're that light,
Mhm.
and it's all the more reason to love them, even if they're not lovable every day. Yeah, I always taught toward what was their future, what their potential was, even if it wasn't what I was looking at right
There you have it, folks. The legendary Judy Spears. Thank you, Judy.
then.